We'll do a quick little review, guys, here of XRP. And again, I think it's important when you get frustrated about a year time frame, 6-month time frame, whatever, that you zoom out and you do a quick little price study of the entire market. Because understand that most of this time that we're in, the market as a whole is going to be sideways, corrective, consolidative. That's the majority of where we are with crypto. And those impulses are generally very, very quick. When we look at even the initial peak here for XRP in 2013, we didn't start breaking out to new highs for almost 1,200 days. And that reward obviously was pretty significant for holding through all of this, volatility and, the rallies that were very short-lived, the retraces, and then finally seeing those breakouts. And then, of course, we waited an even longer time after we created this 2017 high. So it took us almost, let's bring this in here. It took us almost 2,500 days before we popped a new high here for XRP. And I think that we have a lot higher to go. And you look at where we are as a whole on this weekly chart here, this has actually been a very short period of consolidation here on XRP from December of last year forward. So yes, if you are looking at year over day performance, you might be disappointed. But that's really not, unfortunately, how investing works, especially if you want to be a true either cycle-based trader or long-term investor. This little tiny piece of price action here, if this dictates, how well you think something's going to do, moving forward, or, if the performance is where it's supposed to be because of what you're seeing fundamentally with narratives around the utilization of a certain asset, you're just going to always be very disappointed and make, emotionally charged decisions. So, we talked a lot on our show about the areas of interest on XRP if the current level around 207 is lost, and that's probably going to put us closer to like $1.35, $1.34. Huge, imbalance that we did wick down to on the aggregated chart there. But there is potentially some room for XRP to come down and still actually be maintaining that macro uptrend. And I know I'm going to touch a little bit more on this later in the show, but it's important that when you guys are investing and you care a lot about an asset long-term and you're bullish, that you understand that this trend can take all kinds of twists and turns that you're not expecting, as far as the shapes in which they create those higher highs and higher lows. But in all reality, XRP could come down as deep as 75 cents and still be creating a macro higher low that would suggest long-term uptrend for still potentially decades to come.